Okay. EGWHITE coming with
Welcome to
the
the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I'm your host, Micah, and joining me today are two returning guests. One, our regular left-wing correspondent, Andy. How are you doing, man?
Good. I'm doing very well, and I am pumped to talk about Amazon, Elon Musk, and Hungarian
Bro,
right-wing
stop.
populism.
Look, you're reading off the script before it's time. Put it. Just.
All right, I'll minimize it.
Okay. Just ignore that. Everybody, ignore that. We also have today Kenny, whose extremist rhetoric got the last episode he was on banned. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and considering that I was the reason the episode got pulled in the first place, I'm honored to be invited back and to hang out with my favorite radical centrists.
Well, we here on the Grillcast strongly believe in second chances, as both the hosts are recovering substance abuse addicts. So we're very happy to give you the second chance to be on one of the most popular programs on YouTube. So we got a lot of fun subjects to talk about today, and the first one, I'm sure many of you all have seen this, heard about this, possibly put this in your mouth. Elon Musk has pulled one of the most alpha moves that I think I've seen in quite a while. So just to get into this a little bit, we all know the tired story of people being frustrated by big tech sites and kind of doing this cringe move of, oh, I'm just going to go start my own site that no one will ever use. And well, Elon, he said, fuck it. He said, I want to say the N word, and I want to say it right now. And so he went ahead and just bought 10% of Twitter. He just went just right out and took a stake out of Twitter, and people are reacting pretty strongly to this. So I want to get some of your reactions. Andy, if you
Sure. So part of my whole ethos is being aware of technocracy and democracy and how those are at opposite ends of the spectrum, and what freedom of speech actually means for democracy, and where what role extreme wealth plays into freedom of speech. Does it hinder our country, or does it hurt us? So something that I thought was really funny was Tulsi Gabbard's take on this. She said, "Thank you, Elon Musk. Now do Instagram, which is even less transparent and more aggressive in shutting down free speech than Twitter." And then she said, okay, brace yourself. Calling on all other billionaires who want to protect free speech and democracy. Let's open your wallets and follow Elon's lead.
Oh no!
So this just, I don't know. This sounds like kind of like a cyberpunk dystopia that we're living in, that we're begging billionaires to protect our freedom of speech.
But to be fair, I mean, me and Orion have advocated previously on the show for a kind of pay-to-play system in terms of free speech.
I mean, if you can't afford free speech, what business do you even have talking in the first place? Let's be real. Isn't that the true centrist move?
It's called
we all need a billionaire to back us up. No. It's free for some people.
Free speech with an asterisk.
Well, I think that's a little bit extreme. You know, I'd like to see it get to a place where, you know, even the middle to lower classes can have a chance to pay to participate in the free marketplace of ideas. They can have their Gab. What?
They can have Gab.ai, you know, the lower.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that's,
you know,
that's what I'm talking about. They're like Gab and Parler and all these other sites that no one will ever use. You know, these are all failures. But I think we should get to a position where we can pay for these big tech sites that have been cracking down on what type of language we can and can't use. We should just be able to pay to get around that. And you shouldn't have to be a billionaire, okay? You shouldn't have to be Elon fucking Musk, okay, to get what you want on a public forum website, you know, on a public square. And people have been having some like pretty fucking hilarious reactions to this. I saw like a dozen articles of just cope and seethe and dilate, and no better was this illustrated than by Vice News, who literally wrote an article titled "Prolific Shitposter Now Owns 9.2% of Twitter." And I'll read you one of the quotes from this article because it got to me a little bit. So it says, "In many ways, Elon Musk is emblematic of the worst elements of Twitter itself. The richest man in the world, an objectively powerful person, unaccountably making distasteful jokes about marginalized people and promoting COVID misinformation. That could have been an email forward from an uncle, and shitposting along with brutal autocrats. He's a Roganite power user, and now he has his hands on the reins. So I think we should break this down, okay? The first part being unaccountably making distasteful jokes. I mean, do we all understand what they mean by when they say this? Do we all really, do we get what they're really saying here? Okay. They're basically calling him out for the fact that he's price pointed himself above being like life ruined, like canceled or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
At a certain level of wealth, they really just can't. You can't be canceled.
And then and so to say that's this person is unaccountably making distasteful jokes.
But just to be clear, Joe Rogan, obviously Joe Rogan's the most radical person on the planet. So can we really have a Roganite?
Right.
It's really the opposite of a radical centrist running this whole thing.
I don't know if this is like the genesis for the term Roganite, but I whatever that word is, I'm not about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds interesting, whatever they mean. Clearly, it must be some radical thing that can never be let into normal society.
A Roganite? Yeah, it doesn't sound
clearly,
good.
It doesn't sound good
at all. No. Yeah, his podcast probably sucks. Probably not as good as ours.
Probably doesn't even have good guests on there.
No. Yeah, imagine having guests that people have heard of. That's fucking
lame. Yeah, what is that about? That sounds so
way
stupid.
Too mainstream.
Exactly.
Rogan sold out.
Dude, I only listen to shows that have negative one listener. All right, so.
Bro. Well, I mean, that's no longer us, unfortunately. But I mean, what do you guys think? Why are people being so negative about this? I mean, why are people so upset? I mean,
okay,
sure.
I think I mean, they have the right to be outraged by it, but a better point I think is that maybe we shouldn't let Twitter be this important that like a billionaire owning 9% of the shares is all of a sudden like an attack on our democracy. Well, because for me that shows us that we value Twitter too much, and we need to think about other ways that we can protect free speech without relying on 250 characters.
You think we value Twitter too much when like 70% of the news headlines are about what people fucking tweeted?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really that big of an impact until it's at least 90%. But I think the real point here is that people are seething partially because they're afraid of people being able to express themselves openly again in a forum where it doesn't really matter what you say as long as you're getting at the truth. But Andy really gets at the heart of the issue, which is that we put too much value on Twitter and the institution itself.
Let's be honest, Kenny. Okay, the only reason you support Elon Musk doing this is because he's on your side. Okay, we all know he's.
Well, I have been tweeting at Elon all day. And the only thing I've been tweeting at him in all caps is "Make Trump tweet again." So maybe you might be onto something.
So here's my take. All right. Well, this is another one of my takes. I know I have a lot of them, and there's too many for me to really get out, in the amount of time that we have to do this show. But just, as far as Elon is concerned, part of me says that as a society, we just still aren't ready for an African American male to be in such a position of power, and that's really sad considering we had Obama for 2 terms as president, but we're still people still get uncomfortable when they see an African American male, being given such a position of authority or influence.
Agreed. It's disgusting.
I think it's time to move on. I'm not gonna even bother responding to that one.
Okay. Okay. So Andy, I know you're excited to talk about our next topic because it's a little bit of a left-wing power fantasy.
Yes.
A guy who the summation, I'll let you get to it in detail, but the summation is a guy is fired from Amazon, creates the first successful Amazon union, and gets his former employer workplace to vote into joining it. So if you want to kind of go into more detail.
Yes. First, let me just say on the fantasy aspect, I mean, I started working at Walmart like 10 years ago, and I wasn't I wasn't left wing. I wasn't right wing. I was more of a center guy. And even I fantasized about unionizing and thought about all the anti-union propaganda that Walmart shoves down your throat on day one, and how that actually really proves that they're scared of unions. And why would they be scared of something that's not effective? But then also, I started getting really into unions through studying anarcho-syndicalism and labor history. But I thought that having a union for Amazon and Walmart and corporations like that, I didn't think that would be possible for like another 10 years. COVID really served somehow as a catalyst for the labor force. That being said, let me just break this down real quick. So just 4 days ago on April 1st, 2,654 Staten Island warehouse workers voted to join the Amazon Labor Union, or the ALU. So there is about 4,700 total votes. So that means they won by about 5%.
Okay.
Now, Amazon's the second largest employer in the U.S., and no one thought that this win would be possible. They didn't have that much help from the political establishment. They had a little bit, but not too much. So the guy,
It's just
like
a bunch of guys going, "Hey, I'm working here."
yeah, Bill de
Those guys
Blasio, yeah.
Those guys
Not
beat
only
Amazon.
that, but I'm working really hard here. You know?
Yeah, so this was insane because Christian Smalls, he's somewhat of a remarkable character, but what's the most remarkable thing
Is
about
that
him?
the guy? That's the guy.
Yes, he's now the president of the Amazon Labor Union. Really, he's just a regular guy in a really remarkable situation.
And how corrupt do you think he's going to get now that he runs a labor union?
I mean, the good thing about him is, I mean, he's completely grassroots. And
sure,
obviously
but
super passionate about this issue.
Isn't that how all labor unions get started? Don't get me wrong. Okay, don't get me wrong here, Andy. I don't want you to think that I'm anti-union, okay? But
I gotcha.
I have to respect the validity of, both sides of the argument. And one of the arguments that I can't appreciate, because it's true, power corrupts, and something, there's another part to that, and I don't care to repeat it. But we know that this guy's now in a position of power. So how long is it going to be before,
Here, Micah, let's break it down real quick. We'll be able to tell pretty soon here. Actually, there's not a union contract set up yet.
Right.
The union just got formed 4 days ago. It depends on how he handles the contract. If he all of a sudden loses his rigor somehow, that'll be a huge red flag, because if you look at the history of this guy throughout the past 5 years, I mean, he's like the Chad of the left. Like, the left hasn't really had like a proletariat Chad to that's why they still worship Stalin. There hasn't been a real genuine proletariat that people can, so basically he gives us a guy to root for, but the reason why is he actually deserves it, because okay, so let me say this real quick. How they got the vote on the union, they actually needed to get 30% of the warehouse's workforce to sign these cards issued by the National Labor Relations Board.
Mm-hmm.
So they needed, and it's a big warehouse, so they needed a lot of signatures to get 30%. Yeah. I mean, and think about how many people of the working class aren't class conscious. So that's a lot of signature. That's a lot of people that just aren't going to sign. And now he was an ex-employee when he got these people to sign. So he basically had to hang out outside of the warehouse with two of his friends.
So you're saying he was like harassing these Amazon workers and basically like strong arming them to sign on to this petition of sorts.
It sounds like some
to force his point of view, and basically put all their jobs at risk.
Do you like being on the same side as Amazon? Because those are the exact talking points that Amazon use.
No, I hate Amazon, dude. My fucking packages always show up late, and sometimes the boxes like have creases or like bumps in them. Fuck those guys. The TV shows on Prime are not actually. There's a couple of good shows I've actually been watching. But
all right, Micah, I'm almost done here, so let me just get through with this. So let's see. So okay, here's another.
I just want to ask: do you support strong arm tactics? From either side?
From either side? I would say that sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. So So Amazon was
Okay.
actually using strong arm tactics against the union
Right.
preemptively.
I understand that that's wrong, okay, but it's also
Yeah.
wrong.
So what
It's
I what
also
I
wrong to fight
consider
your oppressors, Andy. Sometimes fighting, okay, sometimes just because you're being oppressed doesn't mean that, less than reputable means of, responding to those oppressors is appropriate.
Yeah, so I mean, if you think somebody asking for you to sign a card saying that you support holding a vote on the union, not even saying that you're going to join the union, just you support holding a vote on the union, if you think that's oppressive, then fine, that sure,
No, I
but I
didn't say
wouldn't
that's
consider
oppressive. I
that.
was saying Amazon is oppressive, but those tactics of asking people to do something, like that's pretty. Like, do you want to be asked to do stuff? Like, if you're
I
just
know
like chilling, like,
it's asking a
do you
lot
want to
from
be? Do you,
Americans.
do you want someone
That's
coming up
pretty
to you asking
radical
you to do
for the
stuff?
average person.
Like, it
Asking someone to
is. I
move
know.
is
I
a
know.
lot.
I know. You're a big brain guy, right? And you have ideals, and you're motivated in certain areas. But like for most people, that's a lot. Like you get someone coming up to you, and they're like, "You want me to do a thing? What the fuck?" Like.
Well,
Most
so
people don't even want to answer their doors.
what's interesting though about it is Amazon did use strong arm tactics to shut down efforts, but it actually backfired on them.
Mhm.
So their general counsel guy Zapolsky, he spoke about Christian Smalls at a meeting that only had executives, and Jeff
Mhm.
Bezos was actually at this meeting, and this was way before a union vote was even on the table. But they were already scared of this guy because, he was going around talking on podcasts like the Jimmy Dore Show and getting on Twitter and calling up AOC. And that scared them. So their plan now was to make Christian Smalls be the head, be the voice of this union movement, and then attack his character. This actually backfired on them because Smalls is actually a pretty likable character, and he had reason to be indignant. So that actually backfired. Well, then they went and they formed a reaction team involving 10 different departments, including its global intelligence program. So Amazon has something called a global intelligence program,
Oh,
which is mostly full of ex-military guys. They
that's a little bit
also
sketchy, but I just
it is, yeah.
just to elaborate a little bit for the people listening, when he's talking about this whole like disinformation campaign against Christian Smalls, they called him. They specifically called him not smart or articulate.
Yes.
And just so you're aware, Christian Smalls does appear to be a black man, so that probably did not go over too well.
Right. Yeah, yeah, there definitely were some people that called that racist, and Christian Smalls complained about Amazon warehouses having a problem with systematic racism and ageism and sexism, and obviously that's obvious because it's a warehouse that is trying to make money.
Ableism,
So oh, of course, of
homophobia,
course. Of course. So
landphobia.
I have no doubt. No, I have no doubt in my mind that they have those problems. But I think the important point I'm trying to make though is that their strong arm tactics actually backfired on them. And looking at this through, what does this mean for the big picture? It means that the left wing populism and even just center populism is rising in America.
Kenny,
Andy,
what?
quick question, actually. How many how many Christian Smalls do you think there are out there, and how successful do you think they'll be going forward?
That's a really good question. So I actually was thinking about that for a little bit last night, and I think that Christian Smalls, there's
You know
some
you're
things
giving
about him.
you know you're doing opposition research for him right now.
You don't have to tell him that part.
Well, it doesn't. I. The thing is that I'm not trying to win over his heart or mind. I'm trying to win over the heart and the mind of the viewer. So whatever information you guys want, I'm totally cool to give it. I think the main point here, though, is that Christian Smalls, he didn't come from a moneyed background. He didn't come from a background of power or status, or he wasn't a media figure. He didn't have like a huge following on social
Mhm.
media
Right.
until he started complaining about Amazon's COVID policies. And basically what he did was he got fired and he decided, you know what? I got fired anyways. I might as well organize. And he started telling people, look, if you're going to quit your job because you're fed up with it, you might as well try to unionize. Because if you want to leave your job anyways, And the reason why you were scared to unionize in the past is termination. Now's the time to unionize, not for your sake, but for the sake of all the employees that are going to come after you.
But for my sake, because I'm mad that I got let go.
Sure, that too, but that's indignant rage, and I support that. Really, I think that he's pretty much a normal proletariat. He's just class conscious, and that shows that sometimes that's all you need is to be just a little bit more class conscious than your average Joe, and have a little bit more balls, and you can get a lot of shit done.
I want to get Kenny's opinion here, because personally, I actually do think this is great news, honestly, because this likely means that Amazon workers will be able to pee more than once a shift. In actual toilets, maybe to eat lunch while they're at work, possibly even listen to music while they operate the machinery. And these are truly milestone victories that we could see coming out of this. But Kenny, do you see any of the potential downsides? Do you have a view that would contradict Andy's in any way, or do you see any whatever the opposite of silver lining would be here?
Well, I guess in one sense, the oppressors are going to be much worse off because of this, and I honestly find that to be a little bit untenable. The oppressors work very hard to keep us at the bottom, where we all deserve to be all the time, and we're just making it a lot more difficult for them to keep us there on the bottom. All this does is give more money to regular people, and you guys know what regular people do with money. They do a bunch of bullshit. So
buy stuff
really, what is this going to do? Especially, they're just going to. That's another thing. Let's put this way. Andy, we're empowering the proletariat. We're just going to give the money back to Amazon.
Yeah. You want to give money to Amazon, Andy?
Yeah, I personally feel bad that Jeff Bezos is only going to be able to go to the moon twice this year instead of once. So that is something to be said. All right, we got to be careful about this.
Oh, well said, man. Well said. But that is a good point, though. I mean, by kind of like potentially giving more money. I mean, aren't we trapping these people in a vicious cycle? I mean, like these Amazon
where we think they're going to get better, but they're just not.
These Amazon workers, regardless of what little successive kind of victories they get or concessions from the company. I mean, at the end of the day, they work for Amazon and they subsist off of Amazon, and the greater problem, I think in all of our minds, I think we can all agree here, in a radically centrist way, that Amazon is a problem. So anything that's
even
anything that's on a meta, like on a macro level, positive for Amazon is not good.
Yes. So even with Amazon having a trade union, it's right now it's just at one warehouse. It might spread, it might not. Either way, Amazon is still going to be a problem. They're basically like they have a monopoly on distributing goods right now, and they're starting to get one on shipping, and they have their hands in surveillance capitalism, both in the sense of accumulating data and selling data, and in the sense of collecting data on their own workers in their brick and mortar warehouses. They're disgusting. But what I want people to take from this is that having a union is scaring everyone shitless. And so on my very first day of Walmart training, I was forced to watch an anti-union video. That's something that gets covered on day one.
Has Amazon even condemned the war in Ukraine?
I don't know, but so
is Amazon sending any military assistance?
Micah, I know you have ADD, so let me just hold your attention for 20 more seconds. Because the main point I want people to get from this is that having a union works. And no. The point is that we can't trust politicians to support the labor movement. Otherwise, we would have made a lot more progress in the last century, and we really haven't. Things have gotten worse. So the reason why unions are so great for the working class is because it's a way to voluntarily associate yourself in an apolitical fashion. And guess what? I support gay rights, but you know what? You don't have to have the exact same political views to join a union.
Unless
so in a way, it's apolitical in that sense.
Unless it's a government union.
Right, yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Well, it's because I mean, the cops get the best union in the world, and then the working class don't.
Yeah.
So where does that show you about where power
I like
lies
how
in this
I like how
country?
you choose the police unions as opposed to like the teachers unions
Yeah, what's that
as your
about?
example. Like, come on, Andy.
Is my
Come on now.
what I don't what's the point you're making?
The police unions are not as amazing as like, or they're not that great. Like, there's
Teachers
No,
unions
they're
get
amazing. No,
ridiculous
they're
benefits, though.
amazing. Yeah, they're amazing. In sort of a political sense, though, because cops are actually able to get away with a lot of shit that they shouldn't
Look,
do,
Andy,
and then the
just-
union sticks up for them.
Andy, I know you want a chance to be anti-police, all right, during this episode, but I'm gonna have to ask you to contain yourself. All right?
Or I'm gonna have to leave.
No, you're not gonna have to. I would never ask you to leave. Yeah, and then what was the other thing that I saw related to this? It was the fucking the Amazon's like social messaging system, where like they were fucking banning. They were like banning speech. They were like banning certain
Yes.
keywords. Like Amazon employees can't message. They couldn't like message each other words like they couldn't use phrases like pay raise or
Yes,
labor
yes.
union or
Oh man,
what was I need to go through this.
there's
list.
a bigger
I think
Micah.
I-
There's actually a longer video
This was
too
pretty
that
funny.
covers more stuff.
Hold on.
Yeah, see if you can find the longer list.
So I think there was a quote from one of these meetings. Here are some of the things that they can't say though. So union, grievance, pay raise, compensation, ethics,
Yes, I
unfair,
laughed at that too. Yep.
slave, master, massa, freedom, diversity. Oh, okay.
What about bathrooms?
Injustice and fairness. I don't see bathrooms.
I don't think they
They
can
don't
say
have
bathroom
they don't
either.
have bathrooms.
They can't even say
Say it.
diversity or fairness
I'm
All right,
okay
well,
with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
with the not saying diversity or fairness.
Yeah, that part's fine. And no
Those-
bathrooms, I mean, it builds character. Let's be real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, you can't say robots either. So robots, trash, coalition,
tell Andrew
concerned,
Actually, no, do tell Andrew.
living wage, representation, vaccine.
So
Oh man, there's
in
a
here,
lot.
in here, during the meeting, this is what basically was said to justify this. So with with free text, we risk people writing shout-outs that generate negative sentiments among the viewers and the receivers. A document summarizing the program states, we want to lean towards being restrictive on the content that can be posted to prevent a negative associate experience. It's to protect the associate workers. Here's the thing. I think this is I mean this goes right back to what we were talking about earlier, and I think serves as a great justification for Elon Musk to buy 10% of Amazon.
This show is just such a dumpster fire lately.
What are you talking about?
I think it's perfect.
You think?
I
Hold on.
like no.
Are
I
you
like,
really
I
gonna
like
argue?
dumps-
Are
I
you
like
really
dumpster
gonna? Are
fires.
you gonna argue that things would be worse if Elon Musk were to have like some significant? I mean, obviously, I'm joking. What, Andy? Do we have to have this conversation again?
No, we don't. No,
Do we have to have
no.
this conversation? Do I?
Are you gonna make me have it?
No, I don't
Or
want.
we
I don't
good?
want to have this conversation because it's ridiculous.
Okay,
But,
Micah, I have an idea. I want to bring up 3 quick things, super quick. It'll take me
Yeah.
30 seconds, and then we can move on. So
You're not gonna respond.
I just want to say
that,
for the viewers, no, I'm not gonna. I don't even remember what you said. I usually just mute you when I see the sound waves come on the screen.
though?
I'm just kidding. But I just want to say for the viewers, real quick, if anyone finds this interesting, talking about Amazon and their control over their employees and how unionization can help, check out my band Tides of Technocracy. This is like the main subject matter of our. I know I gotta plug my
Andy,
thrash
it's supposed
band.
to be at the end, Andy. That's...
Wait, hold up. I got 2 more.
Welcome to the Shillcast.
I got 2 more. These are legit. Okay. Check out what anarcho-syndicalism is. Check out what it means. Understand why. And this isn't. I'm not selling any product. I didn't write the book. Rudolph Rocker
Look,
did.
this is a PG program. Okay, please no talk of dickalism.
What's the joke? Anarcho-syndicaslick.
I have no idea. I just hear dickalism, and I'm like, that can't be good. That can't be allowed.
Okay, one more. New York Times bestseller, Shoshana Zuboff's The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. I recommend everyone read it and understand where we're headed, because people think that capitalism is the worst thing possible. It's not. Techno-fascism is.
What the fuck? What the?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Is that? I'm gonna have to read, aren't I? If I want to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I might actually have to pick that one up there
Yeah.
to see what that's about.
Don't encourage him, Kenny. You. Hey.
Yeah, let's just repeat it one more time. The Age of Surveillance Capitalism by Shoshana Zuboff. I mean, it's a great fucking read because she covers.
Is this
covers
about
things that you would.
techno-fascism?
I invented that term. No, I didn't invent that term. No, I don't think she even uses that term. She invented the term surveillance capitalism. That's where she goes with it. But let me just give one quick example then would be let's say you have a Tesla car and you weren't able to make your payment that month, and then the car turns on and drives itself back to the dealership.
Go fuck.
That's an actual example in the book.
Oh my god.
So efficient.
I mean, I can't fault the car for doing that. I mean,
one more example from this book, right? There's tons of them. They'll blow your fucking mind. So there's a company called Nest. I can't remember if it's owned by Google or not.
Yeah, I know about Nest.
And what is it? It's like a doorbell with a webcam on it. Some stupid
security. It's a security.
So two students from, I believe, Harvard, might have been Yale. They wanted to see, okay, what actually would happen if we read the terms and services of these products. What would it actually tell us? They figured out that in order to see what, because when you have Nest, when you set it up, you have to say you accept the terms and conditions. They figured out that there's actually about 1,000 different contracts tied to a Nest that you would have to unknowingly, unless you read all of them, sign off on. And what this is an issue because these contracts are they're going to be about data collection. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a legal precedence for them to have you sign off on it. So just by hitting that one check mark that says, yes, I accept the terms and conditions, you're signing off on hundreds, possibly thousands of different data collection contracts on your data.
Okay, I have to stop you here. This is getting ridiculous. This is another example, okay? Something you see so often of the left's soft bigotry of low expectations, okay? Just assuming that, the commoners or minorities
won't read
or
1,000
contracts. Yeah, exactly. That they won't read. They won't take the time to read through 1,000 contracts because it's too many words. They can't possibly get through all these words because they are who they are.
10,000 contracts a day. So I don't even know what you guys are talking about. If you're not reading at least thousands of contracts a day, I don't know what the hell you're doing.
How are you supposed?
I think that was ableist.
How are you supposed to participate in society?
You guys are being ableist by expecting that people can read 1,000 contracts to install a fucking doorbell.
Hey, buddy,
we have to have standards in society.
There's such a thing as text to speech, okay? You can be blind. If you're blind and deaf, then I don't really care about you. But if you're either one or the other, we can help you, overcome, in whichever way you need.
But not both.
Yeah, not both. Because at that point, it's just what's the fuck?
What the hell are we doing? What are we even doing at that point?
It's a bit ridiculous.
Man, I just feel so scared though, because I know that eventually we're gonna live in we're already living in a society, but we're eventually gonna live in a scary Black Mirror-ish one.
All right, well,
where you're getting surveillance all the time, and you guys think it's funny.
No, I think that we should maybe step away a little bit from the soft racism and QAnon conspiracy theories.
And look at reality.
Get back to reality.
All right.
I'm sure there's better examples than, people can't read.
Oh, what? You got something to hide?
Yeah.
You care about your privacy?
Oh,
it's there's honestly far worse stuff than that. But we know. It's not. And you say this like people don't know this.
Let's hear it. No. I think people know it. I think that. And it's of no fault of anyone in particular, but there's just
you're just mad. You're just mad that people are okay with it. You're just mad that we're apathetic.
I'm not mad. It's more of I would
upset,
never
disturbed.
I would never really blame the working class for it because look, I go to school and I work. So Tuesday is my only day off, and unfortunately, I'm spending it with you two. But I'm not like blaming anyone. I just think that we've all come to be apathetic to what's going on because we're so used to it. And I honestly wouldn't guess that clicking, I accept the terms and condition would actually accept the terms and conditions for 1,000 different contracts.
Andy, you've uncovered the premise of the show.
What was that?
Yeah, nothing. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I want to hear it.
What?
What? What do you mean? You're the one talking. What do you mean? What?
Nothing. I just said congratulations for uncovering the premise
Okay.
of this
What's
podcast.
what's the premise of the show?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't want to have this conversation.
Is there a point? Is there a point of what we're doing?
If you missed it, then it's.
No, I did miss
fine.
it. So let's hear it.
No, I don't do that.
For the slower left wing,
I don't.
Let's hear it.
I don't. Hey, I don't assume.
There are a lot of those viewers out there.
Yeah, I don't assume anything about any of the viewers of any political ideology.
Micah, let's
perfectly
hear it.
content to treat everybody as equals, right, on this program, and like some people.
Micah, I feel like there's a little bit of kind of a patronizing tone to your voice.
I would never be patronizing towards anyone about anything ever.
All right, so what is, just for fun, what is your guys' opinion of the left?
Personally, I mean, I think it's I mean, that's a broad spectrum, but generally,
Yeah.
I think I see good intentions from people on the left. That's
generally.
That's I mean, I can go into nuances and specific ideas, but that's the general idea. My general perception is not that like these people are retarded or something. If that's what you're looking for me to say.
So for me, it's I think there are a lot of good intentioned people. Then I think there are a lot of retarded people. And then I think there are a lot of people
Okay, so he does think there are a lot of
Yeah, there are a lot of retarded people. And then I think that there are a good amount of people who are just like, there's a lot of stuff on the left that I generally do agree with, oddly enough, but I just find them to be culturally repulsive. I mean, at least in terms of where a lot of people want to take the culture and where they want to steer social issues. I
He
find
doesn't
that
like
to be
fun.
Yeah,
one of those people.
basically, if you're not running on the no fun platform, you're basically not going to have a civilization in the future. That's my standpoint. So,
Oof.
culturally reprehensible,
Oof.
culturally need to be annihilated, but not really, only in Minecraft. And
Oof.
I have a lot of good friends on the left.
Ooh, big oof.
I have a lot of good friends on the left, and some of them are good people.
All
Some
right,
of them
so-
I assume are good people.
So
Yes.
let's say you go to a house party and you open up the wrong door. There's some Bernie supporters in there doing drugs and having
Behind
sex.
door number 1.
Then door number 2, Bible study. Everyone's wearing a sweater and studying the Bible, and no drinking allowed, no smoking, no sex.
Right, what do I pick?
Door number 3, a couple of
Or
guys
just-
grilling.
The grilling actually sounds the most appealing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would choose the
Of course it
grilling
does.
for my stomach, but I would
That's the
choose
premise of the show.
door 2 to save my soul.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 for stomach, 2 for soul.
I mean, Bible study can be interesting. What were the Bernie supporters doing?
They were having
Drugs.
sex and doing drugs.
Okay, I mean, I don't think I'd be comfortable necessarily fornicating with those people.
These are people you know. These are
they're people I
that-
know.
Yeah, they're like part of your friend group.
Okay, then definitely not the sex.
Yeah, absolutely
Like,
not.
Maybe
They're all
the drugs. Depends on the drugs. Yeah, maybe
yeah.
the drugs.
All right.
I'd do that and then go to door number 3.
What was door number? Oh, the
The
grilling?
grillers, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sounds kind of like a fun time. How I think about
That'd
it.
actually be a pretty dope house party.
That'd be a
to
dope
be honest
social
with you.
experiment too.
It would be.
Like, let everyone know, like, hey, go. We're all gonna go to the room, like, make up some excuse, like, oh, you guys can't be out here right now because we're having a private game of hide and seek or whatever the fuck. Just think of an excuse. Be like, there's 3 different rooms though that you can hang out in. Just go check out each one first, and then decide which one you want to hang out in, and then just like watch
Honestly,
what they
I
do.
genuinely believe in that scenario. At least a majority, like maybe a simple majority, but I think, or a plurality would choose.
Yeah,
the,
I think
the
plurality
grillers.
is more realistic.
I think that a good plurality.
I think
would
almost
probably
everyone
choose.
would probably be like, whoa, which door smells like hamburgers?
Well, especially if it's the American demographic, then
No, they'd go to door number 1 and smoke some weed, and then go to door number 3 and eat
look,
some.
Andy, not
some
everybody. Okay, just because that's your personal experience. Okay, we have to look through things in the scope of reality.
The scope of reality.
Like a lot of people have experience with drugs, but do people on a day-to-day basis, are they going to see the drugs and be like, that's what I'm going to jump at? Like, nah, probably not.
At
I
a
don't think
house
so.
party in Colorado?
Oh, now you're
Well, now
No,
you're
I'm
putting
just
some
no, I'm
you're
just
adding
saying. I'm just
details.
saying.
now.
I'm just no. I'm
This
just.
is
I'm
not the
just
original
saying.
conversation now.
No.
First it was random doors, now we're in
I
Colorado.
thought you guys were living in Colorado with me. I didn't know.
No.
I had
God,
no
no.
idea.
Never again.
I didn't even know
Never
that was a
again.
possibility. I didn't even hear about that part.
See this? Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I gotta make an important phone call soon. So let's just get through this European shit.
Oh yeah. So, Kenny, I know you wanted to bring up the rise of the right, the happening 2.0, the for real this time, guys, we're gonna win.
Yeah, so
The
everybody remembers part 1, 2017, migrant crisis, the fun summer. Everybody was having a great time. The right was rising, allegedly. I didn't see it. But here we are 5 years later, Rise of the Populist Right Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, and I got some great numbers for you guys. So, not to get into the weeds too much. Okay, Andy, but I see how it is. I see how it is. Oh, it sounds scary. I think it sounds inspiring.
Wait, can I just ask what?
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, do you live in America?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I was just curious as to where you lived.
Oh yeah, I'm an American.
All right.
Very much so. I love Hulk Hogan, beer, all that stuff. So, in terms of Hungarian elections, though, and the reason why I'm so interested in Hungary is because Hungary is more or less, in my opinion,
was part of Nazi Germany.
Ooh.
Oh well, that maybe for some people. I don't know about me, but for Hungary,
Sorry,
Hungary's no problem. No problems there. Hungary is a flashpoint in Central and Eastern Europe right now, and it's only going to become more important as the results of this recent conflict
And
come to an end in the next couple months. No, this is Hungary, and I'm being completely serious in what I'm saying, which is not Ukraine. Just in case everybody knows, if they look at a map, Hungary is not, I repeat, not the Ukraine. So Hungary, there's other important countries, guys, unfortunately. So Hungary is going to be very important in the post Russo-Ukrainian war order because Hungary still has good relations. Right, war order. Right. Hungary still has good relations with Russia and the West, and is basically going to act as a land bridge between both cultures and civilizations and societies going forward. If the Russians prevail, the Hungarians will become exceptionally important, especially if they reclaim land on the border of Ukraine that contains ethnic Hungarians. If the Russians lose, Hungary will still be incredibly important for trade, just policy relations and similar cultural ties between the peoples there. And what's going on now in terms of the rise of the populist, quote unquote, populist right is in 2018, Viktor Orban sailed into
the CEO of Hungary.
Yeah, the CEO of Hungary, just in case everybody knows, the CEO of base stuff sailed into re-election with the right-wing parties getting 71% of the vote overall, with about a 69.7% turnout. Nice in Hungary.
Can I just ask how many?
Yes, sir.
Terms did he have, like 2 or 3 and then run again, or what happened?
Well,
he's been the CEO for a while.
Yeah, he's been CEO for a long time. But just like most of legitimate countries, he has to run for re-election every 5 years, and he has been doing so. And I believe this is the 2022 election is his third go at it. But this part's important. So in 2018, the right, essentially, quote unquote, managed to get 71% of the vote. And keep that in mind, okay? So like Fidesz, the ruling party, got 133 seats, and Jobbik, their kind of mentally insane little brother, got 26 seats. And there was no real left parties at all. Now, in 2022, this election has become a major flashpoint for people on the left and the right all around the world in the backdrop of this conflict. And, without getting too controversial here, they basically united all the opposition parties into one giant coalition called the United Opposition. Yeah, a mega party, if you will, including the right-wing party mentioned in the 2018 election, Jobbik, who's like the silly little brother of Orban's Fidesz party. And
well, so he's a conservative, but he joined up with the socialists and progressives and stuff.
Right. No. So Fidesz is the main right ruling party.
Yeah.
the little brother, Jobbik, decided to break away and go join the lefty parties and everybody because they were angry at Daddy Orban in 2022.
Okay.
So what ended up happening is that an
Classic right-wing infighting.
classic right-wing infighting. Don't you just love it? So when the year started, the big push was that they were going to get rid of Orban. The international left, Soros, all these people were funding money into this giant mega party, right?
Mhm.
And they peaked at December of 2021 in the polls at being 48% against the ruling party, Fidesz. And the whole thing was just drawn up to hell and high water. Like, Orban's going to go. It's going to be the end of the illiberal world order. We're finally going to get some really hardcore centrists in there. It's going to be great and based and
good.
balanced and all that. Yeah, it's going to be great for everybody. And despite millions and millions and millions of dollars and all these amazing things, Orban wiped them in a way that you can't even really explain. And what by that I mean is that his ruling party gained 2 seats. He went from 133 to 135. But the sentiment within the people was so radical that a new right-wing party formed because they were angry at Jobbik for rebelling against Fidesz, called Our Homeland. And they gained 7 seats. So now Orban has 135 plus 7. He dominates the parliament. The right gained 9 seats.
I mean, that's all fascinating,
And the left lost 9 seats.
It's just, in a way that can't be explained. I mean, that kind of just sounds like the election was probably stolen.
Well, I guess
if you have an international community, right, coming together, peacefully protesting a right-wing dictator like Orban, and putting all of their efforts, and the people of Hungary, I assume, are good people, are reasonable people. There's really no solid explanation other than the election was stolen.
Right. It has to be that Orban clearly stuffed every ballot personally himself with thousands of times saying it's not me voting for me.
But I mean, this is like.
But isn't that what people thought, that Biden stole the election though?
Well, I was somewhat joking, but I do question, these like kind of nobody governments, in Eastern Europe or in Central Europe. I whether they're left wing or right wing, I kind of just assume they're not real democracies most of the time.
The only reason why I would, and look, that's fully legitimate because you have countries like Belarus. Oh, you're welcome. You have countries like Belarus where you have Lukashenko. Yeah, I mean, I love them boys, but sure. And so you got Belarus. You got Lukashenko, who's legitimately like the last dictator in Europe, where like they don't even pretend to do the fake election thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Orban's system, which is not totalitarian, but I would say is illiberal. And by that I mean the cultural direction of what they want to do is not how it is in the West, liberally. However, Viktor Orban, you can look this up, obviously, but Viktor Orban actually used his power to increase access to voting. And there's only been an increase in Hungarians turning out during culturally difficult times. So I actually do believe there's a large national groundswell to reject the international community.
This is going to spill into the West, so to speak?
I think it's much harder for it to spread into the West because we have the more Western liberal mindset, of course. But I think it's possible in some places. I think that you'll have a resurgence in Austria. And I think particularly in France coming up, you're going to have some very interesting stuff because there are momentous shifts there that suggest that the right is once again going to form in France, just based on their ceiling is much higher than it was in 2017.
Well, I guess we'll have to tune in and see. We've kind of run the meter on our episode today, but I'm glad we got to cover a lot of fascinating shit, and we got to once again be regaled by Andy on really just poignant stuff regarding workers' rights and
you sound so eager for the shifting tide.
But I think I'm gonna go ahead and close us out, guys. Andy, if you want to plug your shit again, since I kind of cut you off earlier.
Sure. So I'll just say my main project is Tides of Technocracy, which is an extreme metal band. It's got some melody, some brutality. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, whatever.
Link in the description.
Then, yes, link in the description. That would be fucking awesome. So thank you for that. And then I was just gonna say, not my book, but Shuzana Zuboff's Age of Surveillance Capitalism. If you're interested in the kind of stuff that my band talks about, of how capitalism is actually shifting in a technocratic direction, and you want some more info on that, I would definitely check out that book. For more on why unionization is important, I would Google the term anarcho-syndicalism, read Homage to Catalonia, read The Dispossessed. Okay, sorry, Micah. All right, I'm done.
Kenny, do you have any parting words or things you want people to check out?
Yeah, just want to say I always enjoy both of you. I love being on.
It's the first time you met this nigga.
Well, I love both of you. I hope you have me on again.
Of course.
And while my Twitter does not relate to my name of Kenny, you can follow me on Twitter at RanDackroyd93. That's like the actor Dan Aykroyd, but reverse. I just kind of shitpost on there all day, and I just do funny things. And,
Perfect.
Feel free to reach out to me on there. And I actually have a book recommendation this month. This month's book recommendation is The Civil War, A Narrative by Shelby Foote, which is a wonderful, wonderful narrative series, and it's actually well-reviewed and is one of the greatest tomes in Civil War history ever compiled.
All right, and as for us, obviously you can like and subscribe to the Grillcast on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at the Grillcast TM. And I also have a book recommendation for this month, and that would be Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. So thank you for tuning in, my Grillas. Peace out.
I'm old as a boomer. My mind set on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I just spell that rumor. Hit that victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in a whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation.